It would seem as though.
Hi. Sorry.
Hi, it's okay. Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I don't know what I was going to say.
I don't know, but you have some explaining to do.
I do have some explaining to do, but before I do that, welcome to another episode of It Would Seem As Though, the podcast where we talk about anything, everything, and nothing.
Mostly nothing.
I'm Vesta.
I'm Anika.
And I know you can't see, but our co-hosts today are Nix the cat and Amelie Jean the dog.
Yeah, they're really good.
Well, Amelie Jean has checked out because she's gone to sleep.
She's watching Bob's Burgers.
Oh, she's watching Bob's Burgers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And Nix is right in the middle of things, probably to fuck things up when she gets tired.
Yeah,
of it.
she's right next to the TV remote to unmute it a little bit.
She probably would.
Yeah.
So, to the four of you who listen to us every week, you probably noticed that we didn't have a podcast last week, and that's all on me because we did record one.
Yeah,
we did our normal thing. We came to our very fancy studio at Annika's house.
Yeah.
And we recorded, and it was fantastic. Probably the best show we ever recorded. Who
ever,
knows?
honestly.
Could have been the one that would have won us awards.
Girl, that's what I was thinking.
Gotten assigned to Mom Podcasts or whatever.
Yeah. Totally. But
for whatever reason, when I'm here, it doesn't want to upload. So I usually just close my computer, take it home, upload when I get home.
Yeah.
And that is what I meant to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what I forgot to do. I don't know. Something obviously, caught my attention and made me do other things.
Yeah.
And it literally wasn't until, oh my God, the beginning of this week? The weekend? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
When I was like, wait. Because I went to check out our podcast on iHeartRadio, which is where you can listen to us. You can listen to us there or almost any podcasting app. Anyhow.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, where's last week's? And I kept looking at the dates going, well, that can't be right because that's the first week of February and we are now going into the third week.
Yeah.
Fourth week?
No, 3rd of February. This is only the 3rd because it's the 20th today.
Okay.
We have one more week.
Okay. See, math is hard. Today's 21st.
Ish. No, today's the 20th and today's Tuesday.
Oh, no, today is the 20th because yesterday was a holiday, so on my banking stuff that I deposited things, I marked it for today because it wouldn't happen yesterday. Right. Anyway.
So we have 9 more days of this month. Anyway.
So I went into my computer. I was like, oh, shit, I need to go. And when I have done, waited a little bit, I've never waited more than a day. I go in, I open it up, there it is. I upload it, I put in all the information, I do this stuff. Well, I went to do that and it wasn't there. Oof. And I was like, what?
I know.
And so, I am not computer savvy.
Sure.
I won't claim that I have any of those skills. I do not. So I'm tearing apart, going through every possible option, looking in files and uploads and downloads and whatever. And I'm like, what the fuck? Where is it? And I couldn't find it. And so I emailed the company. And I said, listen, I had this problem happen. Is there anything I can do? Or maybe it would be saved somewhere and I just can't find it.
And they said, listen, dummy.
Well, what they said to me was basically, listen, dummy. They said, unless you deleted it, it's not going anywhere. It'll be on your computer.
Sure.
And I'm all, okay. And they said, try these search with words and it should pop up.
Okay.
I did all of that and nothing happened. No. There was no podcast to be found. So, long story short, I fucked up. I ruined everything.
I
brought the world to an end. Because God knows, in this world today, that's the biggest problem.
Girl.
Me not downloading.
Yes, how dare you? What did the people even use to entertain them? What did they talk about at dinner? Do you know what I mean? What was the cultural milestone for last week?
Who knows?
What, not our podcast. So yeah,
no one will know.
It probably set us back ages.
Probably.
We're probably not going to progressing as quickly now. Technology is failing. The sun is dying.
The people in power who listen to us to know what not to do.
God's head is shaking. Sad.
Oh no. That is bad.
Yeah, you've upset Jesus.
Oh, I'm not for the first time, I would
No,
imagine.
no, ma'am.
No.
We know your history, Satan, so no.
Pot? Kettle?
I mean, they do call me Satanica.
You know, for a reason.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's my internet. I didn't get to the. I never thought I'd have to make this kind of video. Here's my apology.
I didn't mean to hurt anybody.
By the way, I love internet apologies because they're also stupid.
Yep.
And they're also fake. Mm-hmm. And I love it especially when there's like the big rolling fake tears.
Oh my god. Well, I also love it when they don't actually apologize. They're just like, I just wanted to come on here and say that I think what I posted last time was there's a miscommunication. Like, never actually getting to the point.
The problem is you misunderstood what I said.
Yeah.
So you're the problem.
Yeah,
I said some really offensive shit, but if it offended you, that's your problem.
Yeah, so you should say sorry to me, actually, because you got offended.
Now you've made me waste my time
going
on the internet.
Honestly, that's how I feel. God. That's how I feel.
I saw this video yesterday, and it has not, but we're talking about videos. I saw this video of idiot Eric Trump. Now, of the Trumps, I think he might be the dumbest.
Oh.
I'm not sure, because it's a close race.
Great girl.
But he was outraged that these people are holding his father accountable for shit.
Yeah.
You know, because in his words, my father created the skyline of New York.
LOL.
He has one fucking building in New York.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Right?
He created
Trump Tower. Isn't that his one big building there?
I would like to say yes, but maybe.
But,
I don't know.
So he created the Empire State Building?
Yeah, him.
And Rockefeller Plaza and what?
All of them, yeah. And you know what? I don't care about New York that much, so couldn't tell you the skyline. I couldn't tell you what these buildings look like because I don't care. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, like...
Well, I've been one time.
Same.
And I was at the top of Rockefeller Plaza.
Not me.
The tippity top.
Sure.
Which, by the way, is a trippy thing.
I bet.
But, yeah, he hardly created the skyline of New York.
I know.
And but all those MAGAs out there who think everything that comes out of any of their mouths is gospel.
Yeah.
It's like, did you hear that? He created New York City.
I know. It's
funny.
Now
they're trying to wrinkle him up into jail.
At this point, here's how I feel about Trump, because I think he's an idiot. He may have been like a savvy con man for a long time, but now he's just, he's feeble. His brain is not what it used to be. He's an old fucking man who doesn't have a healthy diet. You know what I mean? Like, my point is, like, his cognitive ability is missing, right?
Yeah.
And it has been. And so... that is sad, but I don't feel bad for him because he has more money than he should, and he has enough people around him that he could get the care that he needed, but that would be admitting that he's old, right? And weak. But I do like watching him give speeches to his crowd because it's nonsense. It just makes me think of, like, when the 6-year-olds get to recess and there's that one 6-year-old that's, like, charming and they're all cheering for him and playing make-believe. Like, none of it feels real. It feels like Lord of the Flies. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was the biggest bully, so he wins.
Right. According to Fox News, the rest of us who are not Trumpians just don't understand his humor. We don't understand that every time, and this is literally what he said, every time he does a rally, every time he does a speech, he's doing a bit.
Oh.
He's a comedian.
Is the bit that he has dementia?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Because, like, when he said he wanted to be a dictator.
Oh, that was just an LOL.
That he wanted to get rid of the Constitution.
Oh.
It's like, you people, don't you get that he's just messing with you? It's a joke.
Yeah.
When he said that on January 6th, Nikki Haley was in charge?
Yeah.
The fuck was she in charge of?
I know.
It's like...
Was she even in the government at that point?
I don't know. I never heard of her until she started running for president.
Gross. She's so gross. It's just funny watching him now because we've lived through his presidency. MAGA has been created. There's this whole ignorant army of, rednecks and the people who think that Trump is the second coming. But watching him give a speech now because I know what he is, you know what I mean? It's just so laughable to me, and the crowd is stupid, and he's stupid, and it doesn't make any sense, and it's just a fucking joke.
I know. I was watching this reporter talk to a MAGA crowd, and he was like, so, this whole January 6th thing, what do you think about that? And he's like, well, the truth is going to come out. Well, what truth is that?
Yeah.
Well, that Nancy Pelosi, organized the whole
Jesus
thing.
fucking
And when they
Christ.
get her computer, they're going to find it's like, you mean that's why you think that man was trying to steal Nancy Pelosi's computer?
I hate everybody.
But as he continued to question the logic that this man was using,
yeah.
the man was like, I don't know. Because his logic didn't work. His logic didn't go all the way through. And it was like,
Sure.
I don't...
Well, quit asking questions.
Why are you talking to me? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just, it was so stupid.
It is.
And I've heard more than once where they ask them questions, and when they get to the part, it's like, can you make sense of that, though, for me? They can't.
No.
They can't. It's like those robots or whatever the fuck they were on Star Trek when they get to the point of where it is just too confusing for them and they just shut down.
Yeah,
right?
honestly.
And it's like, oh.
Well, and like this is the issue, I feel like, with believing. I'm going to tie this to Christianity for a second.
Okay.
Is believing every biblical story to be 100% factual.
As opposed to a parable.
As opposed to a parable, as opposed to mythology. Because there are... Listen, and I love mythology. I've read a lot of it. We all know this. This is the millionth year we've done this podcast. You all are aware of what I like. But mythology all has grains of truth. There's a reason why people are telling the stories, right? But we are in this generation where there's so much information that people believe whatever they read, whether
Yes.
it is fact or not. And the amount of people who believe the Bible is factually true, where it's full of inconsistencies and contradictions and things that are just inaccurate, right? It's just impossible, implausible, whatever. That sets up a really scary modern time for politics, where we have this group of people, like the people who support Trump, the MAGA people, because they believe this mythology about Donald Trump, and they believe what he says is like factual or true, and they believe this whole like the godhead of Donald Trump that they've created. You know what I mean? It's like the God King.
He was sent by God.
Yeah, it's like the Xerxes, the Persian God King. You know, in mythology, like he's become bigger than a human man, and people believe the stories that are not true about him in the same way that they believe every story in the Bible. And that's why I think that shit is dangerous, right?
Right.
Because you are changing people's ability, like their cognitive function and like the psychology behind all of this. Like their reasoning, they believe that, you know, whoever was talking to a burning bush and that the river turned to blood and it rained fire and whatever, they believe that to be true.
Are you saying it didn't happen?
I'm not saying it to be fact. I'm saying it could have happened, but that's not for me to say is true. And there, you know, my point is, I think that it just really sets a scary precedent. There's an authority telling you mythology and fantasy is true, because then people tend to see that pattern. This is as they're trying to, you know, like, everyone's trying to obscure the fact that Donald Trump is actually a God King. The liberals are just blinded to the fact that he is, like, shrouded in holy light. You know what I mean?
I think the part of that confuses me the most is the way that I grew up was with the theory of question everything. You know, it's like, if you tell me something and it doesn't sound right, it probably isn't.
Yeah.
Or if there's, like, conflicting stories or whatever, you need to question that and find out why.
Yeah.
You need to do a little thinking, you know, using your own brain.
Yeah.
So in this society, it really feels like, well, they said this, so that's true.
Yep.
No, not going to even look into that.
Yep.
You're not going to look into the fact that
So weird.
some of these things don't even make sense.
Yeah.
And it's like, and you can't use your own brain enough. I don't understand. And a lot of these people are much older people. So it's not like these are people who have grown up, you know, sucked into the YouTube and the internet the whole time. These are people who had to, at some point, be thinking people.
Right.
Of some sort, you know. But now it's like they have somehow gotten talked into this, you know, sent by God politician that the thing that I heard I think it was last week, is somebody said that all of the stuff, like him being charged with 91, you know, felonies.
Sure.
With him being sued by that woman whose name I don't remember.
Yeah.
All these things, they're just there to test him. like the great heroes of the Bible
Right.
were all tested. Like Job was tested. And it's like, so they're testing him to prove his merit as this great biblical sent by God. What the fuck?
Yeah, what do you
Do
mean?
you really think 91 felony counts is because someone's going, well, we have nothing against him that we can prove.
Yeah.
If you had nothing you could prove, you can't bring a felony charge.
Right. And, like, you could... Yeah,
You could sue him in civil court.
Yeah, but felonies, bitch, that's a lot, you know?
Yeah.
That's a pretty high charge.
Yeah.
I know. The whole Trump thing is just so... I don't know. It's so stupid. It is just so stupid. And it is so dystopian evil villain to me that how is it not comical? You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I know it's like... Here's the thing. I'm less scared. You know what I mean? Because we've done this. Because I was so anxious and felt so miserable for the years that he was in office or whatever.
Right.
I don't even care. Do you know what I mean? Like, I care enough, but, like, not to the point where I just think he's stupid. I'm hoping he'll just die.
Well,
You know what I
that'd
mean?
be good.
Like, that's my one hope. I just don't care about Donald Trump. I just think his whole base is stupid. Nothing is logical. Nothing makes sense. Nothing is, based with people.
Right.
It's all based on the dollar. And if he's president again, which he might be because fucking Joe Biden sucks. Not that I'm voting for Trump. Let's make that clear. But he might be again. I think that might be the fall of America, the United States,
Yes.
strictly because he'll turn it into like capitalism. There'll be nothing but capitalism, I guess.
Well, I think that, like all great societies, it's, we've outlived our run.
Yeah.
We've outdone it. Because most great societies have a time period that they become the greatest nation or whatever you want to call it, and then they collapse.
Yep.
Because it always gets to that point where there are the people who are like, we're, untouchable.
Yeah.
We're the best, and we're going to keep you down to keep us up. And it's not sustainable.
I just don't understand also why, and I know because they do it because it works, and it's like fiscally savvy. Like, it's smart for the 1%, the people who make the money, to subjugate everyone else, right? Obviously, capitalism, it just really feeds into people who are greedy, that greed center of them being like more and more and more. No money, no amount of money is enough money, right? So the more people we oppress, and that whole idea of like, well, if you're making however much money, you have $50,000 in the bank, that's $50,000 I don't have. That's America, that's the United States, right? But that's why I really like the phrase of like, Rome wasn't built in a day, but it burned in one. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it took a long time to get to where we are in the United States. But one flick of one match. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Well, and that's just it. It feels so precarious right now because too many things are teetering on that. Because there's all these factions fighting amongst themselves, fighting with other people, fighting everyone else, because everyone is right. Mm-hmm. And if everyone's right, no one's right. Really.
Yeah.
It's like you can't have everybody be like, your opinion is an opinion. Mm-hmm. It's not a fact. All these people are going by, well, everyone should be Christian.
Ugh.
Everyone should do this, whatever your doctrine is. And it's like, you've all clearly forgotten that this country was founded or stolen so that we could... we could have freedom of and freedom from religion. Because you were being oppressed in England.
Yep.
And so you're like, well, we're going to go here where nobody can oppress us.
Yeah.
And then become the oppressors.
Yeah. Isn't that silly? The stories, it's disheartening to me, the stories of the oppressed becoming the oppressor. It makes me, like, very sad. Do you know? Like, what it was like, so why would you do? That doesn't make any sense to me.
But there's so many generations separated that they have got their righteousness as their sword and shield.
Yeah.
It's like, I am right. All you other people are wrong, and so I'm going to fight for that. Well, it's like, you be right. That's fine.
Yeah.
But it's not right for me.
Yeah, sure.
You know?
No, I get that. I think, too, this younger generation, like, we've seen... I'm sorry, I don't know how any government any person who works in the government and politics doesn't know about political history of the world. I'm sorry, people used to had the kings, governmental people had their heads cut off or were hanged. Like this isn't. So the fact that if people in the United States acted more like the citizens of France, this shit would have been burned down already. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Or it's like I think it was a couple years ago, read this novel called A Gentleman in Paris. A Gentleman in... Was it Paris? No.
Moscow?
He was a gentleman in Moscow? Russia? Where was he? He was in Russia.
Okay.
But obviously I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I think it was a gentleman in Moscow.
Okay.
And it talks... So this man was of the upper echelon with the money and the titles and the whatnot.
Bourgeois.
Yeah. And when the New Order took over...
Mm-hmm.
When it became, was it communist?
Yeah.
Yeah, socialist? Whatever. Sure. They went in, and all of the people who were of that upper echelon, who were royalty, they killed.
Yeah.
They didn't come in and go, okay, you're now going to have to go live in the poorhouse.
Yeah.
They were like, y'all have kept all these other people down, and you got to go. And so they killed them all.
Yeah.
And the only reason this guy was like kind of the harmless 14th cousin of whoever of money, and they let him live, but he had to live out his days within this hotel.
Right.
So he could never leave the hotel.
Right.
And they took almost all of his stuff.
Fine,
but one of the things that I learned was part of that whole socialist, I'm going to say it's socialist, it might be communist, and I realize they're different, but was that everybody lives basically the same. And...
Oh, yeah.
That if you before the rise of that power, you had a big house. Mm-hmm. Well, once that power came into being, it's like you have to share your big house with another family because they don't have a house.
Yeah.
And so everybody has a house, everybody has whatever. And it's like, I don't think to that level is what it needs to be, but I do think that wealth, if it were spread around, would take care of so many problems in the world.
I'm sorry. There's one man named Elon Musk who could solve world hunger. Like, the top...
Right, except he'd rather go to space with his friends.
Right, but this was also a thing that he was talking to the UN or whoever about, that he could, but he decided to go to space instead. Like, that's so fucking crazy to me. Well, and here's the thing, that just means... I just hate this world. It's so irritating. Like... Just because, solve world hunger, that means that people don't have food, or they can't afford food. And if people have to pay for food, that doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Why is food commodified? It is so bonkers, right? Because, first of all, did you ask to be born? Did I ask to be born? Did anyone ask to be here? No. And now you're going to make me pay to live? That is wiggity whack to me. Do you know what I mean?
It is.
And you are putting people in poverty over fucking food. Like, that's why... I say, if you are grocery shopping, if you're at a store and you see someone steal diapers, you see someone steal formula, you see someone steal food, no, you didn't. You know what I mean? No, you didn't.
Right.
Because are you kidding me?
It turns out, while I'm grocery shopping, I'm very nearsighted.
Yeah, I'm blind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I can only see what's right ahead.
I use echolocation, bitch. I don't know what's happening. And I hate capitalism. Granted, I do participate because it's impossible to live in a capitalist nation and not participate. But I wish it was different. I don't want to do this. It is not fun, and it doesn't feel fulfilling. We literally had this conversation. Like, what am I going to do? What do I want to do with my life? I don't literally want to do fucking anything. But I want to have something to show for it. But living in this world, I don't want to participate further. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to participate further into whatever this whole capitalist game is. It's not fun, and I'm not enjoying my time. You know what I mean? Like, and just watching the world burn and people being slaughtered, like, it's too much. I would be happy if something changed dramatically in the United States. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And, let's think about it. Marie Antoinette, her husband... beheaded.
It ended badly for them, yes.
The Romanov family, which is Anastasia, that whole story.
Ended badly for them.
Oh, they were all shot.
They were all put up against a wall and shot.
Yeah, girl. What's happening in the Congo currently was because two generals who decided to overthrow the king of, the Congo. I don't know what his name was, but then they started to fight against each other and now put their whole fucking nation into, a genocide and everyone's starving. And, so my point is... then just overthrow the nation. I don't know. I'm not, like, encouraging that, I guess. But, like...
You're not plotting the overthrow of the American government.
I don't want to leave my house, and I don't want to get a real job. You think I have the time and the energy to plan an overthrow of a nation?
It is a lot. There would be charts and graphs and research, and you'd have to talk to people.
Oh, and it'd be too
that
much.
Sounds awful.
Yeah, and, Big Brother's always watching or whatever. So where am I going to talk? In my safe room? My panic room? Who am I, Jodie Foster?
When you're on Big Brother?
No, thank you. Not ever, not once. I would hate that.
And on that note, I don't understand the appeal of any of those shows. And what's funny to me is I have friends who are very, very smart people.
Yeah.
Who are very educated, who are higher up, the job chain, who love those trash shows like The Bachelor. And Big Brother and Survivor and whatever. It's like, I can't.
No.
That's not to say I don't watch any reality, because I know that everybody who listens knows that I watch, like every drag race ever made.
Yeah.
Although now I'm just kind of sticking to fewer. I can't do all of them. Right now there are 4 running. But it's like all the ones where people are ugly and conniving and to try and win something. It's like, yuck.
I hate it.
I don't want to. And now, oh my God.
Tell me.
Well, it just feels like now they're searching for things to be shocking, to be fun, new. And it's hard to find new when you've done all this stuff, but there's a new reality show, and I don't know what it's called. I've just seen the commercial several times, where they've taken all these couples to this island, but then they're adding other people to see how many of them throuple up.
I want to
because they want to create, like threesomes all over. We're having a TV show about threesomes?
Girl.
Why?
I want you to know something. There was a television show. Is it Netflix? It might be, because you know that I like watching Love is Blind because it's ridiculous and stupid. But I enjoy it because it's cuckoo crazy. But there's a show, and I don't remember what it's called, but you see all these like hot, young, I don't know, 20-something men who are all ripped in their pool, very tropical resort, right?
Yeah.
And then who comes on the scene? Oh, but all of their mothers.
Right.
And then it's basically all these young men are just dating each other's moms. And it's all like bikini, sexy, cocktail in the pool. We're all sleeping together. Weird. Fucking weird. That's a TV show, girl. And then they did the same thing with dads and daughters. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
it's weird, right? Like,
it is weird.
I also think the show The Ultimatum, which I had to stop watching, where all these couples go into a show.
Oh, and I only know about it from watching Trixie and Katya do Queens Who Like to Watch.
Yeah, where one person in the couple wants to get married and the other one isn't really sure or doesn't, and then they go into this place and they're all partnered up, and you might leave with your former partner, or you might leave with someone who's more on the same page with you. And I'm like, I couldn't imagine going to that show and watching my current partner date other people. I would be in prison. I want you to, even if I signed, sealed, delivered, and now I'm in prison because I just killed every motherfucking bitch in this place.
Yeah, here's the thing. I know me well enough
Oof,
to know
girl.
that when you offered me this show, I'd be like, fuck completely off.
Yeah.
Because no.
Absolutely not. No.
I mean, if you want to play with toys that used to be mine, have at it.
Yeah, girl, take them all.
Take them all. I don't care. But don't try and take the toys that I'm currently playing with.
I also feel like there are...
And what an awful way to describe all the toys.
I liked my former toys more than I like my former partners. Most of them, yeah.
Same.
Yeah. All of them.
I mean, if someone said, you could have any one of those men back, or you could have the toys that you played with, I'll take the toys.
All the toys. Here's the thing, though. I don't like any of my partners but one. I don't have any issue with Astra. We're good. Astra and I are totally fine.
Right.
But, like, every other bitch.
Because, though it ended, it ended with you as friends.
Yeah.
It ended with you in a really good place. Mm-hmm. And whatever. But yes, the rest of them are trash.
Oh, absolute trash. Yeah. And please give me the toys from my childhood. I wasn't done with those. You know what I mean?
I know for me that any of my exes, if they just didn't exist anymore, I'd be like, oh, okay.
I do feel like
I don't care.
There is a weird line for me. Like, not that I want any of those exes back or I care about any of them, But if my close friend or a good Judy or somebody decided to date or hook up with one of them, I would feel some type of way about that. Just because I would feel like, what kind of person are you? You know what I mean? I think that's kind of gross.
Well, and for me,
yeah,
that would be, I mean, especially if it was a good friend. Mm-hmm. Because I would be like, did you listen to nothing that happened in our relationship?
Do you not remember?
This person's not a good person.
Yeah. Fool.
And they treated me like garbage, and you're my friend?
Yeah.
What are you? Yeah. I have that weird high school or middle school kind of thing. It's like the enemies of my friends are my enemies.
Yeah.
You know, it's like...
Oh, very much.
Yeah. Because it's like, okay, so I'm good friends with you.
Yeah.
And I hang with you, we live together, whatever it is, you know, whatever the relationship is. And I've heard all the stories about all the people... and blah, 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 and I've heard how they've hurt you or they've done this or that, and then I'm going to go get with them? What?
Absolutely not.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it doesn't.
Now, if I just know you, you know, peripherally,
different.
And you're like, oh, I'm dating your ex, cool beans, have at it.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
Godspeed.
And Godspeed, little doodle, because it's not going to work out well for you.
Yeah,
It doesn't work out well for anyone.
No.
You know,
girl, honestly, yeah. No, I'm there. And not that I would care so much. Mostly I'd be like, oh, well, I lost a friend. You know, just because I'd be all, I don't want to hear about, if we're good Judies and you date, we're never going to do anything coupley. You know what I mean?
Oh, no.
I would rather die.
Yeah.
Or I'd rather kill them. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah, I listen every morning on the radio to the Who's the Drama. And one morning it was this young woman, her friend started dating, was it her friend? Her ex started dating her, like, sister or something.
Ew.
Something crazy.
I also don't like that.
Right, whatever. And I was like, so I didn't invite my best friend to my party because it would have been awkward because she would have brought the boyfriend.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it was like her sister-in-law started dating her best friend's ex. Something crap.
Yeah.
But it was like she couldn't. Yeah, that was it. So she couldn't invite the best friend because sister obviously is invited to family thing.
Yeah.
But I can't invite you because you're going to bring that guy who broke up with sister-in-law.
Oh my
God.
God.
It's like, what?
What kind of white trash shit is this?
Right. Well, and that dynamic, I totally get. It's like, I don't want to be around you, or I wouldn't have broken up with you.
No, that's it. That is so. You know what? Something like that has happened to me only twice in my life. Where it was like, oh, I dated somebody that you know, but what family? Like, when I was in high school, there was this guy named Brad who wanted to hook up with Brianna, but then every time I saw him try to hook up with me, and I used to think like, that's weird. You know, we're cousins, right? Like,
right. And you know, we talk.
Yeah, like what the fuck? And then when one of my sisters was allegedly dying of cancer. And I lived in LA, flew home, spent Halloween with her, right? We went trick-or-treating in Yamhill with her children, my aunt and uncle's grandkids, whatever. Sister, who's sick, her ex is there, right? Because they're taking their kids trick-or-treating. Well, he's with his new girlfriend, totally fine.
Right.
But she brought her ex because they have a kid together. So all this whole Jerry Springer show is trick-or-treating together.
That's what it sounds like.
Girl. And so then at one point, my uncle says, hey, will you go get the Jeep and drive it up here and we'll go home, right? Like, because we parked it and walked. Makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. Well, the ex-husband of the woman who's dating my ex-brother-in-law, right? Was like, I'll walk you back. And I said, oh, okay. And so it's Yamhill. I'm not scared, bitch. What?
Yeah, what's going to happen to me?
Girl.
The worst going to happen, I'm going to trip over a tree root that's thrown into the sidewalk.
Honestly, I'm not 12. Yeah, I'm not 12 and I currently live in Los Angeles. Like, nothing here, actually. Right. Whatever. But he walked me back. He's a cop in Yamhill, and he...
What's his name?
I have to think about it.
Okay.
I have to remember. Anyway, but he, asked me out, and I said, is this not weird for you? Like, is it not weird that your ex is dating my ex-brother-in-law? Like, that my niece and nephew are, you know what I mean? Are, like, siblings to your, like, this is weird to me.
It feels, even though it's not, it feels a little incestuous.
Right? And I just said...
And I realize it's not.
Right.
But it gives me that feeling.
Yeah, and I said, also, I live in LA. Oh,
Yeah.
and also you're a cop, and also, like, there's plenty of reasons, but...
So funny you bring up cop in Yamhill.
Yeah, okay.
One of my clients who lives here, grew up here. Well, actually, she grew up out in Helvetia,
Okay.
but which is about an hour from here by freeway because everything is. Anyway, but has lived here her whole life.
Yeah.
She was telling me that her niece and the niece's boyfriend lived on my friend's mom's farm,
Okay.
taking care of mom
Yeah,
because
yeah.
mom is old and is
Okay.
having health problems. Well, then one day, out of the blue, niece says, "I'm out of here,"
Okay.
leaving mom, leaving grandma with no one to take care of her. Like, I'm out. And the boyfriend was like, "Well, if she's out, I'm guessing I'm out because it's not my house, it's not my family, right?" So she left said boyfriend
Okay.
to start dating this cop in Yamhill,
Oh, no.
who is the ex-husband, well, it wasn't ex yet, of Beth Mitchell. Mitchell, whatever's mom. And I'm all, wait, what? Because as she's telling me all this stuff, I was like, wait. So she's like, yeah, because his wife was Beth something, and she started talking about it. I go, I'm pretty sure I know who that is. Because I grew up out there, and I went to school with all these people. Right?
Yeah.
But the cop has the weirdest name. His name is Trampus. Sounds
No,
too much
isn't.
like Krampus.
Do you know what's so funny? Because I am...
But this woman, who is the wife, the jilted wife,
Yeah.
is the mother of my niece's husband. That I went to high school and grade school with.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Right.
That is crazy. Well, I found this guy. Yeah. His name is Travis. So when you said Trampus, I almost
like,
shit my
what?
pants. Yeah.
Right.
That was so funny. Yeah, weird. Gross.
How weird. And yes, it's just the whole thing is just bizarre.
Yeah, it's all very strange to me.
Yeah.
It's all very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't go to the country. Don't go look for a spouse in the country, you all. Like,
No.
that doesn't make any
That,
fucking
which,
sense.
of course, reminds me of that other new show, Farmer Needs a Wife.
I hate my life, girl.
It's
like,
I'm sorry, but if you want me to have farm life, I had better have people who work for me because I'm not going out and
listen.
plowing fields or picking
No.
things or
No.
weeding things or
No.
feeding cows.
but let me
or-
tell you, I could be a farmer's wife, but you'd have to be a rancher, and we'd have to have... I wouldn't be doing that shit, because they can make money,
Yeah.
bitch. They make
Yeah,
money.
yeah.
But if I had, like, the field hands and the people who work the barn and whatever, I would be like, the little Miss Priss on the farm. That would be me. You know what I mean? I would
could-
have my cute pink Carhartt.
Sure.
Like, girl, I
could
would...
make their schedules.
And
I
would,
could
you know what I would
manage
do?
them.
I would make my own schedule. I would wake up. I would do some yoga. I would eat some food. I'd watch some TV. I'd walk in nature. Walking the children in nature. I would be raising children. I don't know. I would be making butter. I don't really know what I'd be doing, but I wouldn't be
You'd
working
be Ree
on...
Drummond.
Huh?
You'd be Ree Drummond.
How dare you? No, I don't want to be her.
Well, I know, but that's kind of her life.
I know, well-
I mean, she is now
Tell me.
become wealthy white woman who's her husband's a rancher.
Yeah.
And
Honest.
she has a TV show that she films in her house
Oh, see?
making food.
Girl, and
That's
so,
it. She cooks this stuff, wrote a cookbook, does all this stuff, and made so much money that her husband built her a second house that is specifically her kitchen now for filming.
I want to
So
die.
she films some of it in the house they all live in, and films it, but it's all right there on the
Girl,
property.
see,
She never has to leave her house.
What a dream. Dream come true. That's what I'm saying. Like, I could do that, but I'm not moving...
But she
in-
doesn't go out and fix the
That's
fences
what I'm saying.
or take care of the
I'm
cow.
not moving in with Joe Blow, who's been a farmer, and his mom was a farmer, and his daddy was a farmer, and they're all farmers. E-I-E-I-O. And he lives in a shack, and he has a plot of land that he has to toil, you know what I mean? And he's stealing his neighbor's cable, and, like, using their Wi-Fi. You know, like, I'm not...
The farmer needs a wife isn't set in Yamhill. And it's not, any of the people we knew who do all of those things.
Where it's like 3 different double-wide trailers that they've kind of fused together to be like, this is my house.
This is
you
my
know?
mansion.
Yeah, I'm just saying, those are the only ideas of farmers I have in my head. Is either
Well,
like
that's what
very,
we grew up with.
very rich, or this person who lives on like a single wide trailer on wheels with like a plot of land.
Well, you
that-
don't want to take the wheels away in case you need to
just
move
in
it.
case, because tornadoes in Yamhill, in
Yeah.
Oregon, yeah.
But you might lose your land
yeah.
to bad money and I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, but you might have to move.
but so there were
hook it up to your 4-wheel drive truck
girls, and that's the nicest thing to have.
with the truck nuts on the back.
I hate that. I want you to know though, people who live in Yamhill County, the most expensive thing they have is either a piece of farm equipment or it's like the truck they drive.
Yes.
So that's it. The house they live in is a box that they got from the local Macy's, which is an hour and a half away. You know what I mean? Right. So it's not necessarily local. But growing up in Yamhill County, it was few and far between of people I knew that had actual decent farms.
Yes.
Most people had shitty, podunk little, everyone on Sunday morning, Saturday morning, they're going to go work the farm. After school, you're going to work, you're going to bale, like, buck hay, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I could live in, like, a farmhouse. I could live on a farm. I don't like leaving my house anyway. Who cares if it's in the middle of nowhere, right? I don't care about that.
But then in the middle of nowhere, I would also have to have someone who delivered my groceries, because I'm not driving an hour for groceries.
If your only job is to hang out at home and be cute,
oh, then I might drive it.
Girl, you're gonna be like, I need to go in and get my hair done, some nails, some shop, and you go get groceries. That's not hard.
Yeah, okay.
I could do that.
All right.
My job is being alive, and you know
cute.
what? Let me tell you, being alive and cute and productive, that's it. I could do that, but I don't want to go, I'm not milking no cow.
No.
I'm not cleaning up no poopy. I'm not driving, I'll drive a tractor, but I'm not doing it in a formation.
Listen,
okay.
I grew up in the country, as did you.
Wait.
But different generation.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But in my generation, most of the kids that I knew in the summertime went to local farms and picked berries.
Yeah.
And this was, clearly it was before the influx of migrant workers.
Sure.
You know, because the child labor was eventually replaced with migrant labor. Yeah. But that's exactly, and it's funny that no one said, really? You're having children come work for you? And it's like, well, they get an opportunity to make, a couple pennies on the dollar.
And look at their resume is going to expand.
Right. So on my resume, it says strawberry picker who got fired because what they would do is they would call it rounds. So the first round was when all the bushes were so heavy with strawberries.
Yeah.
That
you could just knock it off. Yeah.
Right. If they didn't eat them all. And then and so when they finished the first round, they would fire all the people who were less productive. Me, always in the first round of firing. Because most of my strawberries went into me and not into the bucket.
Well, girl, you got to make sure you weren't getting that scurvy.
Right. So I ate, whatever. Yeah. And so that was my summer, every summer. And what's funny now is because my mother has rewritten history and, now doesn't remember any of it. But
yeah, she rewrote it and then
she's
said,
like, well, you guys love doing that. And I remember I went out with you. She never did.
Bitch, what you saying?
Not once.
Yeah,
she never went out
honestly.
with us. I mean, she would go out and pick other things, like the you-pick stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And she also, at one fall, I guess it's late fall, went out and picked walnuts.
Ugh.
Which means you pick them up off the ground.
Ugh.
And kind of take that mushy black shell off them and put them in a bag.
Yeah, and that mushy shit is like tar.
Well, yes, because she would come back and her hands were black from that mess.
Because they didn't believe in gloves back in the day.
Yeah. Or we couldn't afford them.
Yeah.
All I know. But it's like, that's the kind of farm I know.
Yeah.
It's like, and I want no part of any of that.
And like you're talking about, kids doing it and why, no one thought that was a weird thing. Girl, a couple decades before that, everyone needed to work the farm. Do you know what I mean? And they were having...
But it wasn't my farm.
No, bitch, but they were having 18 plus children because they needed all the help. But also, infant mortality was so high that they're like, we're going to have this one, but it's probably going to die. So let's get on board. Let's have another one. Yeah. And maybe that one won't die. Or, maybe they both will live. And guess what? Now we have two farm hands, you know? Like,
so my question to you is, when you were growing up in Carleton, what is the biggest number of children anybody you knew had?
Okay. What is the biggest number of children? Okay, so I think the Blanchards.
Okay.
How many did they have? Because they were Mormon.
Okay.
They had 10 children.
Okay.
But, yeah, I think that is probably the largest. Because I don't think no, probably the largest. But I had a friend, Steven Vanderhoff, and his family. They were giants, too. His dad was, 6'8", and his mom was, 6'3". They were tall people.
Wow.
I'll have a story for after the podcast, I'll tell you. But, yeah, they had about 8 children. And it was interesting because you could see, like, I was a kid, and I remember thinking, like, the older ones were so attractive, and they just got uglier as they got younger. And I remember thinking, like, God damn, they wasted all the good genes.
Oh, yeah, the good genes all went to the first few, and then they ran out of good genes.
Because my friend Steven was, like, amorphous. He wasn't even a human. Like, it was different.
Oh,
no,
so
I'm just
sad.
kidding. But yeah.
Yeah, in my generation,
Yeah.
I remember when we moved out to the country, I was starting first grade.
Okay.
And, you know, I remember thinking, you know, that we were a large family with 6 kids.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, whatever. We move out to the country, and there's one family that has 10 children.
Gross.
There's a Catholic family that has 11 children.
Oh, I hate that.
And there was another family, I think, that had 13. And those were the big... That's too many children.
And that's your entire high school.
Yeah.
All 4 of those families.
Well, yeah, those 4 families
Yep.
made up my entire high school.
Yep, I know.
Because they were the entire population of Yamhill.
Yes, girl.
Because when I lived there, the population was 625, and I don't think that it's grown much since then.
No, because when I was younger, it would between 900 and 1,000 people. And that's in the 90s.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, you know, it didn't grow a whole bunch. It wasn't...
And Carlton grew a bit, but when I lived there, it was 1,200.
Oh, okay.
And now it's like, what, 1,500?
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's no place really for it to go.
No.
So it can't expand
well, I mean,
that much.
it's nothing but... They could potentially
well,
expand...
if they bought up all the farmers' land.
Literally, yeah. But yeah, there is really no place for it to go. But yeah, gross. I'm really trying to rack my brain about families that had multiple children, and I don't remember there being many. Like, multiple children, up to maybe 4 was the max.
Was typical.
Yeah. But, like, most had, like, 2 or 3, because, like, even my immediate family had 3. Me, Ashley, and Michaela, yeah. But...
So, the family that had 10, they named all of their children and their pets with a name starting with T.
I want to kill myself. That's so awful.
So when they started out with really kind of regular names, Terrence, Tracy.
Yeah.
But as they went on, it was like Tonda and Tower and Treasure, and I was all, okay, Tiffany, yes.
And Tibia.
Yeah, no, doesn't start with a T.
Tibia?
Oh, they said
no, Tibia.
Tibia.
I was like, what else to start with? An R?
Yeah, it's the silent Q.
Tibia.
But it was like, first of all, why?
Yeah, on account of why.
But 10 children. My children asked me the other day. They go, "Do you wish that you had more kids?" No,
absolutely.
No,
not.
I said 2 is as many as I can handle.
Yeah,
I said I got you 2 clowns.
Yeah,
and you're enough.
Oh,
I said you're the light of my life and the love of my life, but you're a lot.
Yeah,
I was like, y'all are a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. Gavin was telling me that when his mom was in labor with him, Gavin, I guess, was a hard baby to get out. His 2 older brothers were easy, but Gavin was a little bitch, I guess. And Gavin's dad always wanted, like, 10 plus children. He wanted a large family.
Oh, God.
And his mom wanted 1, maybe 2. So they had 3. In labor, she grabs his dad by the collar and pulls him in and screams, "This is all your fucking fault." And then gave birth to Gavin.
Well,
isn't that cute,
concise.
Though? Yeah. But yeah, I knew that I thought our family was like probably the biggest family that I knew because Grandma had 6 kids,
right?
You know, but other than that,
well, and if you think about it, so much of our family still lives out there, right?
Ish, yeah.
You know, Yamhill County, whatever.
Well, and growing up, yeah, most of them did. You and Bryce were the only 2 who didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
So, 6 children, all who got married, all who had children.
Yeah.
Now, I am at the lower end of that because I have 2, and, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But then all of those children, other than mine because they're too young, married and had children.
I did not marry and have children.
You married multiple times but had no children.
You're right. I did marry. You're right. I had no children.
And your children are all 4-legged children.
Yeah.
But...
You're like, Annika, you did marry multiple times.
So, on that side of my family, I have 13 nieces and nephews.
That's a lot.
And 24 great nieces and nephews. That's a lot of people put into this world. That's too many people.
Girl, that's too many. I don't like that. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a huge family. And so, you know, I don't go to family events.
No.
I didn't really go to family events when children were born. I think Jade was born. I don't know. I don't think many, because there are some children in our family, some of my cousins' children I've never met. And I'm not saying that to be like, I'm sad. I just don't care. I just have never met them. Sorry, but I don't care. So really, growing up with, like, this grandma, her 6 children, and then all of their children, that's still a whole bunch of fucking children.
Yeah.
Or people in general, you know? It's a pretty big family. Especially to have in one house for a holiday. It's a large amount of people.
Yeah.
That's why it was interesting to me, you know...
Which we were talking about yesterday. Mostly alcoholic.
Yeah. It was interesting growing up and seeing families that had, like, a mom, a dad, and a brother, sister. And maybe they were married, maybe they have children. But it was such a small, tiny, like, a tiny Thanksgiving.
Little nuclear family.
Yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? This isn't do you have nobody else? You know what I mean? I have a whole passel of motherfuckers back home.
Well, the idea, really, of having a quiet holiday... Or having what feels like a very civilized, nice little quiet group where you can eat and talk and whatever and be heard. Mm-hmm. That, to me, was absolutely foreign.
Yeah.
Because all growing up, it was... When I was very young, we would go to my grandparents.
Yeah.
And so it'd be our family, which is a lot. And then... all the aunts and uncles and their children. And they all had small...
All the aunts and uncles?
I know, I only had 3.
Wait.
No, I mean my uncles.
Okay.
And their wives.
Yeah.
So I have 3 uncles. So on my mother's side.
When you said that, I thought you meant your grandmother's
siblings.
God, no. And I said, didn't she have 15 or something?
Children. Yes, my great grandmother had 15 children.
Jesus Christ.
And she's mostly responsible for the population of Montana.
Yeah. Right. That's why I can't go there. I'm related to all of them.
Lori Lee, you might be related to us.
Girl.
I mean, they populated a whole lot of Montana.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I found out that one of my friends, I think it's her uncle by marriage, is related because she started talking about, my uncle who blah 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 and his family is blah blah blah, and I was like, wait a second,
hold the fuck
hang on.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's also my family, which is weird.
Yeah.
But when there's so fucking many of them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I know. There's too many.
So when people ask me, like right after Christmas, people say, well, how was your Christmas? Like, quiet. Mm-hmm. It was the 5 people who live in my house. Mm-hmm. And then at some point, one of my brothers came and picked up my mother and took her out there. So it was the 4 of us. And because you were in California.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it was so quiet and calm and peaceful and lovely. And it was like, that is nothing like the Christmases I grew up with.
Yeah.
And then I think of kind of the last ones that we went to before everything kind of went to hell. And it was in my mother's teeny tiny little house that isn't even as big as the main floor of my house.
No.
And there were all of the siblings, all of the cousins, all of the everybody squeezed in to this teeny tiny, like 800 square foot house.
Yeah, honestly.
And it was like, you got to open up some doors and push people out onto the porch.
Yep,
and,
bye.
Whatever, because it was just, and so it was chaos. And so the difference really is so, I don't know, startling.
Yeah.
Because it's like you go from absolute chaos to this nice little quiet group.
Yep.
Now, often on Christmas we go out to the cousin's house out in, Beaverton. And it's a larger group, but it's still not chaos.
No. Well, and their house can be a larger group, you know, just because they have 3 kids. One of their children is in a throuple. They have friends over. They have their siblings over, whatever. But it's never overwhelming to me. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Usually I'm also...
Well, and they're also all kind of calm adults now.
Yeah.
And half of them are queer, so...
Yeah. Well, and that's like when I went to Christmas in LA, it was something...
And by the way, I said that because that's a bonus.
Yeah.
That half of them... Because I'd rather hang
I
out
would
with
much rather walk into a room full of queer people than a room full of cisgendered heterosexual people.
Oh, yeah.
Any day of my life.
Yeah.
Anyway, my Christmas was pretty great because it was just Gavin's dad, his 3 boys, and then their partners. So there was only 7 of us. And it was quiet. And what's really sweet to me is they're all very sensitive to Gavin because having... They drink, but they also try to include him. So they bought non-alcoholic champagne and orange juice so we could have mimosas, so we could all toast together. It was really
I didn't know
cute.
there was such a thing.
Yeah, it's gross. Gavin and I had some. It's not really yummy. It's fine. It just tastes like fermented grape juice in a way.
Okay.
It's just not yummy. But whatever, it was fine. It was really sweet. But then it was all very quiet. We had dinner delivered, so it was all easy. And then
Even better.
Right, girl. And then we opened presents. We had them all set out, and then we just opened them collectively. It wasn't like everyone goes around, which I was all praise Christ, because I'm all...
I know, you have that anxiety about
Everyone's
gift
watching
giving
me.
and gift receiving.
Everyone's watching me open presents. I hate it, yeah. But it was just so different, because it was quiet, it was quaint, it was just... Everyone's just having conversation.
Yeah.
It was nice, opposed to Christmases we've had before, where it's 87 people are screaming, people are fighting, half of them are drunk.
Right.
It was just miserable, but it was nice. Granted, I don't super love going to Los Angeles in the fall and winter, just because I feel like I miss seasons if I'm there, but...
I am going to tell a little story, which you were a part of, which is one of my favorite Christmas stories of when we were all still getting together in that little teeny tiny house. You and I and two other of the kids went into town and bought cans of silly string.
Yep.
Remember this?
I do, yeah.
And now this house, as I mentioned, is 800 square feet, and there was at least 30 people there.
Oh, at least, yeah.
And we got back to the house with our silly string, and then got positioned in locations all over the house, and none of us were near each other.
Yeah.
And then, on cue, attacked everyone with silly string, shot up the entire house with silly string. Most of the people there thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Most of the people laughed, because silly string, easy, you just pull it off, throw it away.
Sure.
It doesn't usually make a mess, except for... my sister's then boyfriend, who was a piece of trash.
Oh, God.
Who was like, "Oh, you've ruined my silk shirt," and blah, blah, blah. It's like, that's polyester.
Yeah, don't get it twisted,
Right.
Frederick.
I know you're
that is
trying to be
polyester.
fancy,
He's Hispanic, and I'm calling him Frederick.
You're a piece of shit.
Oh, I know.
It's like this abusive, horrible guy who even if I did ruin his shirt, too bad.
Oh, wow. Here's the
You
thing.
ruined my sister. So,
You know what's crazy is, as a child, I remember after the big blow up when Tracy finally left him, when he beat her up, and she had a black eye. I remember her waking up one morning and she was on Grandma's couch and being like, "What? When did you get here?" But as a young kid, I didn't hate him. As a young kid, he was always really nice to me, which is just, it's weird because he was a very machismo Hispanic man, and I was a very soft queer child. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he was always very sweet to me. That's what I remember. But I knew he was not a good person.
no.
Because then I heard stories.
He was a trash bag.
And then Justin Brianna told me stories, so whatever. But I didn't know him. I knew some of his nieces and nephews because they all lived in like one house in Lafayette together. But that was kind of it. But I do remember them being together. But then it just went downhill from there, girl.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not that he was great. He was also awful. But everyone after that, there was like one person she dated that was decent after
Was
that.
there?
Yeah, because his last name was Weber. And
Okay.
he was the dad to some kids I went to school with. But he was a really nice man. He was also a drunk, though, and he died of, like, congestive heart failure, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, so that sucks, because they were in... I think his name was Billy? It doesn't matter, because she dated some really fucked up people. She dated the toothless guy who worked at the antique store named Don.
Right.
Who literally could smell
Right.
booze on him from a fucking mile away. He just
Right.
made... She
But I
made
suppose when you're an alcoholic, you're going to stick with people who are similar.
Yeah.
Because you don't want anybody getting on your ass about,
Nope.
you shouldn't be drinking.
No, you don't want that accountability.
You want someone who's going to be drinking with you.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for, I know that some of you don't know, that my sister died of alcoholism 12 years ago. It'll be 13 years this May.
Crazy. That's
So almost 13 years.
Yeah.
What's really crazy is I think about the fact that she was just shy of her 52nd birthday when she died.
That's crazy.
Yeah. All from, and it was, it was all alcoholism.
Well, and to the point where because I was in California, I was in LA. But I remember being updated when it happened. And, like, because she was so severe to the point where, like, the doctor was like, well, she can't stop drinking alcohol. It'll kill her if she stops. That shit's crazy to me.
Yeah. And I realized we just took a dark turn here.
Well,
Well, that's life. That's family. That's the world. Dark turn.
We were talking about, it's fine. Well, may she be in a better place.
I hope.
Yeah, girl, because she was suffering,
Yeah, for whatever reason, she was broken.
Yeah, which...
And I that's kind of, you and I were talking about that a little bit the other day when I was saying to you that when I sat and really thought about my family, is like the number of alcoholics in my family is shocking to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's because I grew up watching my stepfather be a drunk. And was like, I never want to be like that. Because it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
And it was terrible. And I was like, no, never. I will never be like that. And apparently my siblings were not so bothered. Because several of them became alcoholics.
Yep.
And it's like, ugh.
Well, and all of them became shitty people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I didn't want to say all of them, but really...
Most. We'll go with most.
We'll just say a number of them.
Yeah. Became not great people.
Yeah. I know. It is interesting. Well, and that's
somehow we came out of there as great people.
Which is so bonkers. Well, you know, we've talked about often, like, how did I become who I was based on, you know, the family that I had, which is an interesting thought. But when, you know, it's like going to the doctor and they're like, so what is your family medical history? I'm like, bitch, check everything off, you know, on the list.
Right.
All of it. Like, what do you mean? Like, everyone in my family has conditions. Let's just put that. Mental illnesses.
Right. So where you have a column, you'll have checks.
Yes, ma'am. Right. And like,
they always ask you if history of cancer, yes. Diabetes, yes.
Yeah.
Alcoholism, yes. Heart failure, yes.
Mental illness,
yes.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, bitch, all of it. Like, literally all of it. And that's why it's so hard, because I'm like, who do I count and who do I not? Just my birth parents and my grandparents? Because guess what? They all fucked up. Like, what do you mean? I don't know. You know?
Considering, I know, it's hard to know.
Considering my maternal grandmother had a stroke, and and there's diabetes on Becky's side, and my grandfather died of congestive heart failure.
Yeah.
That's just and glaucoma. They're all blind and deaf. You know what I mean? So,
wow.
Yeah, girl. And then on this side of the family, Grandma had little sores on her body for the longest time that nobody knew what it was. You remember?
Right. Oh, yeah.
So, I'm just ready. Maybe that's what's happening. I'm just aging quickly. My body is like... Oh, because I talked about... There was no podcast posted. Last week I talked about how my rib was fucked. It hasn't gotten much better. So it's gotten better, but it's still achy. I still have to, like, gently move around.
Right. Well, that's what happens when you start getting old, is you just sneeze or turn wrong or get out of bed too fast.
I've been trying to take care of myself, eating better. I got a rowing machine. I think it was the rowing machine. The universe said, bitch.
Because the rowing machine was like, yes, try me. And your body was like, no.
I know, the universe said, bitch, you want to do what? You just went from doing nothing to doing everything? Get a life, bitch.
Yeah. So, listen. We didn't even get to our topic today.
I know. Well,
because we just started, talking about all the other things.
Yeah.
But we very well might get to it next week.
Maybe.
And again, I'm very sorry about last week. All my fault. I take all the credit for that mess up. But that's the end also of my apologies. I'm done with that.
Yeah.
Because as my beautiful daughter here said, I should give myself some grace for fucking up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Girl, I wasn't mad. It's good.
Who cares?
We took a break. We took a vacation. The first time.
Even though we really didn't.
No.
We did work and it went nowhere.
Yeah.
Anyhow, but we're going to go now because, we have things to do and places to not go and people to not see.
Yes.
I have a whole schedule today of people to not see.
Ooh, girl. I have maybe a nap to take in a little bit.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
I will see people when I sleep. Because I'll be dreaming of the people I don't want to see.
Why?
Or the places I don't want to go.
Oh, girl, what a dream.
Righto. But that is that for today. And if you want to write to us and tell us how horrible I am for missing last week's podcast or for my family overpopulating the world or whatever, send it to itwouldseemasthough@gmail.com. And we will read your letter, even if you say don't. I probably will, because I don't read all the way through before I read it.
Because consent is not her strong suit.
No, it's not. But anyway, we'll be back next week because we, as a rule, post a new podcast every Wednesday.
Yep.
So that's it. I gotta go.
Bye.
Bye. It would seem as though.